All right, so this is how the dorsal column system works. Okay, so the dorsal column system is going to bring general touch and conscious voluntary, should say, proprioceptive info into the central nervous system. This represents a proprioceptive receptor in the foot, in a lower extremity. When we're working with the lower extremity, that means we're working with the fasciculus gracilis, like Professor said in her video. So, we have our receptor, and then we have our somatic sensory neuron that's going to bring the information into the spinal cord. Remember, it's still peripheral nervous system until we get to the spinal cord, until we get to that dorsal horn. Okay, so and remember, the somatic sensory neuron is the first order neuron. First order neuron comes in through the dorsal root ganglion, through the dorsal root, hits the dorsal horn. We're now in the CNS. And it's going to go up. Remember, we're still in the spinal cord. This is still first order. It's going to go up the fasciculus gracilis, and it's going to hit the nucleus gracilis in the medulla. The nucleus gracilis is when the fasciculus gracilis ends. Now, in the nucleus gracilis, in the medulla, we're still in the spinal cord. The dorsal horn has cell bodies for the second order neuron, which is this. And the second order neuron is our interneuron. Okay? So the interneuron is going to go up. It's going to decussate in the medulla. So if this is a left foot, then that means that the right side of the brain, the right side of the somatosensory cortex, is going to process this information, and vice versa. So decussation happens in the medulla, where it crosses over to the other side, goes up, and then cell bodies of the third order neuron are in the thalamus. So this is our third order neuron. Remember, the thalamus will filter information, so it's going to decide if the information is significant enough to go to the postcentral gyrus somatosensory cortex or not, right? We know that, if we're wearing clothes, we don't need to be consciously thinking about that 24/7. So very soon after we put our clothes on, the thalamus is going to be like, all right, well, I don't really need to be thinking about this anymore, so I'm just going to filter that information out. Well, but in this case, with the proprioception, it's going to filter that information, and the third order neuron is going to bring it to the postcentral gyrus, which is where the somatosensory cortex is located. Right, so just to review, we have our receptor, first order neuron, somatic sensory neuron, going to bring the information through the dorsal ganglion, through the dorsal root, into the spinal cord, into the CNS. It's going to go up the fasciculus gracilis, hit the nucleus gracilis, and that's where cell bodies of the interneuron are going to be located. And then it's going to synapse with that, decussate in the medulla, second order neuron, our interneuron, going to go up, synapse with cell bodies in the thalamus. The thalamus is going to bring the information to the postcentral gyrus / somatosensory cortex to be processed and integrated.